Hey folks, welcome to the Wealth Transfer with TC. Today I'm going to be discussing some prophetic words about some dates concerning the month of October that have been floating around within the Wealth Transfer community, specifically October 22nd and October the 24th. And so what I've always tried to do is just try to put the pieces together, and so we could try to come up with some type of a timeline, but also instructions on what to invest in, how to get the wealth transfer, and whatever other instructions that God may have for us. And within this time period, we've seen prophets come and go. We've seen people give dates and time frames come and go. And I've been doing this for over 10 years. And I've been seeing that over and over and over. And the enemy never tries to stop deceiving the people within the wealth transfer. People don't see this part. This is God's wealth transfer. That's going to be the biggest thing that this earth has ever experienced concerning God's people. And this is going to bring about a major change within the church and God's kingdom to be established, right? But then people are not expecting false prophets or people making up stuff, whether on purpose to try to hurt God's people or they're just doing it for their own gain. But nobody expects these people to show up. We just give everybody a pass if they continue to fail over and over and over again. And when it comes to God's wealth transfer, I am not going to do that. I am not going to sweep prophecies under the rug, especially if a person is saying that they are a prophet, because when you say that you are a prophet, you are saying you are a representation of the voice of God. But when you say that and you have hundreds of prophecies that do not come to pass, or 50% or less of your prophecies do not come to pass because you're giving out dates and time frames, right? Or the prophecy can't be fulfilled because of another event that took place that nullifies that prophecy. Those are the kind of people that I stop listening to and I put them away. And I don't even want to even have to even see or hear any of the things that they have to say because they've been wrong so many times, right? And they're proclaiming to be a representation of the voice of God. And people need to take that more seriously, right? Just last year or at the beginning of this year, there were some things that I had to deal with. And we kept seeing all these prophecies not coming to pass with XRP and the case being settled and it's skyrocketing and Shiba Inu pennies on the dollar and Bitcoin at 100,000 in January, and the markets are supposed to crash during the trucker strike, and so many other different prophecies from various individuals. And yet the wealth transfer community sweeps those under the rug. And the people that continue to do that, I'm going to say this, that when we get out of the bondage of Egypt and we go into the wilderness, right before we actually get into the promised land, a lot of people are going to end up dying off. A lot of people are going to end up dropping out of the wealth transfer. A lot of people will not make it. People think that the wealth transfer is Shiba Inu and it's a one-time event and there's nothing else going on. And me studying wealth transfer prophecies, the wealth transfer is something that's going to happen over a period of years. And it's different investments, and we maneuver and move things from over here to over there and prepare for this wealth transfer. And when that one is done, then we move on to the next one. And there's this whole pattern and instructions that we are supposed to do, right? It's just like the Bitcoin instructions, right? When it hits zero, and you collect Bitcoin, and when it pops up to 10,000, right, then you're going to sell some off to put it into XRP, right? That is a wealth transfer instruction. There's just one example of instructions for people who are involved in the wealth transfer. People who don't understand, and they're very political as far as their politics, and people don't understand if you're way off to the right and you're way off to the left, and there's a lot of things on both sides that if you support those things, you are not for the kingdom of God. So I just want to make that clear. And those people will be shaken out of the wealth transfer. And so these are things that we have to deal with. And, people say, well, why does it matter if somebody's dream isn't right? I'm not talking about people who are having dreams. I have dreams all the time. I've had dreams over years. Not every dream that I've had has come to pass. And some of the dreams that I have had can't come to pass for whatever reason. So I can't put my faith, whether it's a prophet or it's a dreamer, I can't always put 100% faith into every single dream or vision. And I think people that listen to this channel need to understand that, because you still don't. You say, I believe in all these prophets. I do not believe in all these prophets. I do not believe in some of these dreamers, right? Because I do believe that there's a percentage of people that are false prophets. And that's based off of how accurate they are. And I don't care how much they say Jesus. I don't care how well they teach the Bible. I don't care how they pray. If their prophecies are not coming to pass, then they are not speaking on behalf of God, and something else is going on. And I'm not going to be the one to sweep stuff under the rug anymore. And I think I've done it long enough. What false prophets do, they come in to steal, kill, and destroy. And we've seen that in the wealth transfer, and we try to call it out. And so we've seen false prophets try to come into the wealth transfer. And I don't get why people don't think that the enemy's not going to send false prophets that sound like Jesus, imitate Jesus, preach like Jesus, right? They sound so Christian, and they seem to believe everything that I believe, and nobody out there is identifying who these people are. Now, when it comes to especially all these newer people that are coming into the wealth transfer and they're prophesying dates and time frames, you have other people just having random dreams and visions and prophets saying this and that. Now, I could easily say who I think is a false prophet, and I could give you all the reasons. Now, if I did share with you guys some of the people that I think that are either making it up or they could be false prophets, whether they're a dreamer or a prophet, some of you guys would go absolutely berserk, because some of you guys have before. And what do? You just sweep it under the rug, and you persecute those who are trying to stand up and say, look, this person is not very accurate, and they're claiming to be the voice of God, and nothing they say is coming to pass. And they say, well, they've got a few prophecies here and there. I can do that too, right? Because I can sit here right now based off of all the knowledge that I have right now within this wealth transfer and give you 10 prophecies. And maybe I will do that just to kind of show you guys, how accurate that I can be. And I saw somebody else do this on a channel that they follow different prophets and they follow their prophecies. And they're always pointing out when somebody's lying or prophesying the news. So I thought about doing that myself too as well. And maybe I should. And then people would probably say, well, it's probably because all these different prophecies. You've been studying the wealth transfer for a very long time. Of course. But if I can do it, that means anybody else can do it too. And then put God on it. So those are just some things that, moving forward, that I'm going to be dealing with. And I don't care what people say. I don't care about what people say. If a prophet is wrong and I point it out, I should not have to receive backlash because the truth has been told. Right? Nobody wants to hear the truth in the wealth transfer. They want to shove it all under the rug and move on to the next prophet. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Polny. And I got his YouTube channel up here, and he's got all these dates, and these are not prophecies. Okay? Just so you guys are aware. This is a combination of him studying like numerology, using Hebrew holidays, putting together biblical types and patterns as far as time periods within the Bible, and he puts this all together, and that's currently what he's showing, that all these events are supposed to take place. So these are nothing but predictions, right? And many of you who have been following Polny, and I used to watch some of his stuff, but he mostly focuses on gold and silver and precious metals. Me personally, I don't, because I'm not going to put $1,800 in an ounce of gold when I know that I could put it into something else that's going to bring about real wealth. Because for the average person, maybe only has $50 to $100 a month or every other week to put into investments, gold is not going to be your thing. Gold is not going to bring you the wealth that God has been sharing with us as far as the wealth transfer. Precious metal is a part of the wealth transfer, and when the time comes, we will move some of our investments into precious metals, and when those take off and we benefit from that, then we will move on to the next wealth transfer. So he's saying here, October the 24th, something major is supposed to happen. And now just doing some research, there was a major crash that happened 35 years ago, right? And that anniversary was yesterday. Closer to what his prediction is that we're going to be experiencing another Black Monday. He's got here on the title of his YouTube channel, Worldwide Collapse, October the 24th. He's been going on different channels and talking about specifically something that is supposed to happen this day. And so again, all this remains to be seen, and this is not a prophecy. He's made a lot of predictions, just like I have over the years, and we're not always going to be right, and sometimes we are, and sometimes we're not. But one of the things is that he does sometimes talk about Kim Clement's prophecies, and Kim Clement did say, do not rely too much on gold concerning this wealth transfer. That's on him, that's his channel, that's what he does, right? So at least that there are people that do concentrate on that area in the wealth transfer. One thing I do want to say before we move on to the October 22nd prophecies. Since I've been involved in the wealth transfer and studying the wealth transfer for well over 10 years, the things that we are seeing concerning the banking industry and the economy and all the different sectors of the markets, all these negative things that we're seeing, different areas crashing or on the verge of collapsing, right? We saw the British pound. It didn't collapse, but it did crash. And we had some other issues with some other currencies. But these are all things that we expected for years to start seeing. We don't know exactly how things are going to happen. I mean, just like Kim Clement talked about the banking system, right? I've discussed this in many videos with Kim Clement and his prophecies concerning the banking system. So what I discuss moving forward, these are things that we already expected to see. So when somebody does have a prophecy about certain things, it doesn't surprise me at all whatsoever. We listen to it to see if there's any other details or anything that we can help, put some of the pieces together. But these are all things that we have been expecting for some time, especially when it comes to the global currency reset, because we know what's going to kick it off. And according to Kim Clement, it's going to be when things seem at their worst. So these are things that we know that are going to happen. So we expect to see some turmoil within the Middle East, within Iraq and Israel before the global currency reset happens. So the prophetic word that I'm going to touch on deals with October the 22nd. This comes from Prophetess Camille Hedrick. Now, just so you guys do know that over the last week, she's actually changed her YouTube name. Because before then, it was just Camille Hedrick, and now it is Prophetess Camille Hedrick. And before I really get into this, folks, you guys have to know that I've been following her channel well before she started prophesying about the wealth transfer and prophesying about Shiba Inu and all that stuff, okay? And I can prove that just by the comments that I have made on her channel. She has one here, what God told me about Donald Trump. I made my comment about what she was saying concerning DJT. Right? That was well over 3 months ago. And then she also had a prophetic vision or dream or whatever concerning dinosaurs, in the past. And I made my comment on that one over 3 months ago. Now, I don't agree with everything that she is saying on her channel. I've watched a lot of her videos in the past, well before she was making Shiba Inu videos. And I don't always agree with what she says. But I'm just saying I have some disagreements about some of the dreams and visions that she's had because they conflict with a lot of other things. I'm not here to try to debate all those and all that stuff. I'm just trying to let you guys know where I come from when I am talking about Camille Hedrick. Camille Hedrick also had the prophecy of Shiba Inu by the end of the summer. Okay, folks, and that did not happen. Okay, she had a prophecy. She said that Shiba Inu in the wealth transfer was going to basically take place by the end of the summer. Now, the end of the summer also was the beginning of the new Jewish year and all that stuff. And we're still waiting as far as the Shemitah. And so people were writing me after this prophecy didn't come to pass. And they were telling me, well, actually I had a lot of different people, at least 10 different people were saying on my videos that we should be going by the Jewish calendar and not the American calendar, because it didn't happen on the American calendar. So we should be following the Hebrew calendar. We should be following what the summer is in Israel. Okay. Now, I did do some digging into that because yet nobody, I've asked many of those different people, please send me information on summertime in Israel. Right? And the only thing that I could find that was anything official just doing some research, is that summer, according to Israel, has changed over time. Now, currently, over the last 15 years, it runs from March 25th to October 30th. These dates coincide with daylight savings times when they go back and change the clocks. The summertime has nothing to do with any type of biblical holiday. It doesn't have anything to do with any type of biblical seasons. This is something that has only been enacted for the last 15 years. And over the years, summer has changed, or with the definition of how long it is and when it starts and when it ends, it has changed. So the only thing about October the 30th, because that's when people are saying that's when summertime ends in Israel, the only thing that happens then is daylight savings time. Now, and I understand, the prophecy didn't come to pass, and you want to see the prophecy come to pass, so, we'll move the goalpost this time, okay? And we'll move it to October the 30th. So if something does happen, then, maybe her timing, or maybe God did really mean according to the Israeli calendar and what their summertime meant, and not what her home country is, which is the United States. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play the prophecy, and then I'm going to come back and discuss it.
So the Lord has been speaking to me about October 22nd. And the first day that I saw this date was on September the 16th. I had a vision around 5 a.m. on September the 16th, right? And the Lord, he often uses creative ways to just remind me that Jesus is coming back. So I have a Cash App card, and it's personalized. And on my Cash App card, it says Jesus is King. So I have a vision of my Cash App card, and I see the words, Jesus is King. And then I heard the Lord say, look at this date here. And I see October 22nd, right? That's the first time I heard October 22nd. The second time was on September the 19th. Around 6 in the morning, I heard the Lord say something is going to happen on October 22nd. And I also had a vision while I was in prayer on September the 19th. And I saw crowds of people, and they were holding signs like it was a riot, right? And I saw like fire, almost like people were just upset. You know how riots are, and people might try to burn buildings, or I just remember seeing fire, like signs burning. And then on September the 20th, while I was in prayer with my husband, I saw flags. And this is what me and my husband heard. We heard power structure change, new laws, and riots. It will be the beginning of a season of all these things. And then on September the 23rd, which was this morning, today's the 23rd, right? Yeah, this morning, September the 23rd, I heard around 2 a.m., there will be a shift in the economy. Banking systems will fail. And God showed me all of these banks and their logos. And this is not the first time that he's been showing me banks. I've been having multiple dreams and visions about the banks. And just about a day or two ago, I had a quick vision where I was walking into a credit union. And as I was walking in, I saw just the whole wall, right? When you first open the door of a credit union, I saw the whole wall was just covered with different bank names, and I saw their logos. Like I saw Bank of America, and I saw red and blue, and I saw the logo, right? Chase. I remember just seeing all these banks, and it just covered the whole wall. So the Lord reminded me, he showed me that vision again this morning. And when I saw this vision, I heard the Lord say again, this is for October 22nd.
All right, so you heard her prophecy that she was giving concerning the banking system. Now, is this something that starts on the 22nd, or is this something that's going to happen on the 22nd, and all the banks are going to fall? And is she referring to the private banking system, or is she referring to the central banking system? Because they are, even though they are banks, it is two different systems. So one of the things that she saw was when she walked in the credit union, there was a bunch of different logos of the bank names and so forth, assuming that these are the banks that are falling. And we've been discussing about the banking, for a very long time. And especially more recently, we've been saying, maybe you guys should be looking at credit unions and other types of banking systems other than these bigger banks, especially banks that are tied into the stock market like JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and stuff like that. Like if you have investments or you have money in those different banking entities, I'm not a financial advisor, but that might be something that you might want to consider moving your money out of these mainstream banks, right? Now, when it comes to all the other things that she's saying, she's talking about like the riots and fires and so forth. And, one of the things that I want to bring up, and this is also for the other person that the video that I'm going to play. And I have a list of, just a whole bunch of different prophetic words dealing with the economy, dealing with gas prices, dealing with hyperinflation, dealing with the food shortages. And it's going to be crazy times. And these are prophecies that go back to, from the ones that I found, most of them go back to 2020, right? And there's actually a couple of them that I believe that actually go back even further than that. But we've been discussing this. So this link will be down below in the description to this, so you can start watching and listening to all the other prophetic words that people are having about what's going to take place, right? Because it's going to affect, especially the food shortages are going to affect all the grocery stores, and it's going to be different for different areas. You guys have seen videos of mobs of people bum rushing stores to get clothing and electronics and stuff like that. What's going to happen when they start bum rushing those stores for food? Okay, because right now, all the time, people are walking out of Walmarts, people walking out of gas stations with hundreds of dollars worth of food, and it's constantly happening every single day, which a lot of people don't realize that, that's causing inflation too, theft in grocery stores, right? You got some of these people walk in with their mask on, and they fill up their grocery cart, and then they walk out right out the store. So this is in a couple days, so I don't know if she's saying that this is when it's going to happen and all the banks are going to fall, but, I'm not going to, when it comes to people giving dates, when people say that this event is going to happen on this day, I'm not giving any room to those people because they gave a date. If she had said that it was going to happen pretty soon, or is going to happen maybe in the month of October or in the next several months, for the entire banking system to collapse on the 22nd. Right now, where we are at in the wealth transfer, that's going to hurt mostly everybody in the wealth transfer, and not everybody can pull their money out of the banks, right? Some of you got 50,000, 10,000, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000. You can't just take it out of the bank, but you can move banks, right, to a different banking system, but you're not going to be walking around with $100,000 in cash. In these banks, it takes time to get a lot of money, right? And there are a lot of people that are watching the banks because they're trying to steal from people. Okay, so we have this other prophecy for October the 22nd. So this is Alyssa Robinson. And she says here, the Lord told me the economic system will fail October 22nd of this year. He said, tell my people to prepare and stock up now. Now, we have discussed this, folks, and we've been putting all of our money into the wealth transfer. We've been stacking up on our investments. And a lot of people, they don't have any money. They live paycheck to paycheck because they're putting so much into the wealth transfer. And we have talked about starting to build your storehouse, making sure you have, supplies and energy and so forth. So this is Alyssa Robinson, and we'll go ahead and play this prophecy.
The Lord wanted me to put this out today. Got my notebook for prophetic words. God was revealing more and more to me. And so I wrote everything down. I said, it's time to stock up now. The Lord says, stock up, my people. It's time to stock up on supplies, stock up on water, stock up on food. The blackout is near. Next month, there will be a major blackout, the whole nation. Don't wait. It's time now. With the economic system failing this month, people won't be able to use their credit cards. Banks will fail and no access. All cash is best to keep on hand, the Lord said. October 22nd, banks will fail. And on that day moving forward, things will get worse in the world. Robbery, breaking in homes, I have visions of all of this. Chaos, riots, emptying grocery stores. This month you will hear grocery stores all over the U.S. Banks will fail, not only in the U.S., but everywhere. Chaos, 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 the Lord said. I heard the Lord said people will need cargo, wood, gasoline, cars without a microchip, tool equipment, clothes, blankets. The Lord said this winter will be cold. Get all things you need to stay warm. Many of you haven't listened, paid attention, blind to see the signs, don't believe in God, and some don't read the word and don't fully seek Him. God said obey His commitments, get to know Him, study on His law, meditate the word day and night, repent, get saved, the Lord said. Some of you are confused on religions. It's about the relationship with God. God said to fast and pray, fast and pray. October 22nd, banks will fail. The Lord is revealing dates to me. I was going to sleep, I believe it was around 10 or 11 p.m., and God just started revealing. I wrote everything down. God is warning us on things that are about to take place. As I was writing this, God revealed no checks, no direct deposits, no access to money inside of banks. Banks will close because of this. Keep cash on hand. Empty your bank accounts before this happened, the Lord said. This is confirmation for many of you. Also, the Lord keeps revealing a loaf of bread worth a day pay. This will take place this year before the blackout, the Lord said. Food will increase this month of October, getting higher and higher, the Lord said. Prices will not go down. This is a vision I had back in March of this year. I keep hearing fall is coming. Increasing, the Lord said. So back in March of this year, I had a vision. Gas was $15 a gallon, but the Lord revealed to me that it will only get higher. And so also take all this up with God. Take all of these words up with God.
So she said several things here. She talks about the warning about stocking up on food and water, and we discussed that. We've actually been discussing that for a while now, and I already shared with you guys the document that I had of many different dreams and visions. She talks about gas prices hitting $15. There's in that document also, there's various people seeing gas at different prices, and that's going to depend on where you live, because some states are oil states. The closer you are probably to a oil processing plant, the more likely that you guys are going to have cheaper gas than other places that are further away from that, right? So these are all things that we are seeing now. She said in November that there was going to be a blackout. Okay, so she said the banks, in October the 22nd, that the banks will fail, right? And as she's talking, she does say that she's not really telling you what her visions were. She's just giving an overview of what was in the visions itself. Right? In November, it was going to be a blackout, and that we need to be prepared for that. So here we go with another October 22nd date, saying that the banks will fail. Right? Now, folks, the way that I look at this, I'm just going to be completely honest. I'm not trying to say that it's not going to happen, but, we might see some things happen over the next week that could lead us to believe that the banking system is going to fail. These are things that we have been expecting to see. But as far as from the wealth transfer and the prophecies and the instructions about your storehouse and storing up food and water, many people who are involved in the wealth transfer can't afford to do both. People need to experience at least some of the wealth transfer, or at least be able to make enough money to be able to stock up for their own storehouse, for their own family and for their extended family, plus your energy. And if you're trying to stock up on food and water and charcoal and gas and all that stuff, how many of you right now can do all of that? Not very many of you can, right? And be able to do it, and it doesn't hurt your bank account at all whatsoever. So now when it comes to the blackout, folks, one of the things that we have discussed is that what's going on with the war with Russia, and you have the whole thing with North Korea and Japan, you have China and Taiwan. And I'm expecting China and Russia to retaliate against the United States by shutting a whole bunch of things down, right, through hacking, right? We already know that our energy grid is under threat of being hacked and stuff like that, and then shutting things down. And that is something that is a possibility that's going to happen. And that's why we stock up on these things. So maybe we do need to start focusing more in that area. But the majority of people are not going to be able to prepare themselves both in the wealth transfer and stocking up for food in their storehouse. And the wealth transfer has actually already started. And I think a lot of people think that when it starts, that automatically you're going to have millions of dollars in the bank, and it does not work that way. You're going to see a lot of bad things have to happen first before the wealth of the wicked is transferred to the righteous. And the righteous have to be in place in order to get it. They got to have their buckets ready. And if you don't have your buckets ready, you're going to miss out on this first part of the wealth transfer. Like I said in the past, I don't expect every prophet to be right. And there is a certain threshold that once they get to that point, then I stop listening to them. Now, when it comes to these newer people in the wealth transfer, a lot of these people don't have a prophetic record, right? And just because somebody is a prolific dreamer doesn't necessarily mean that they are a prophet. Okay, so we need to put that out there because, I've had to deal with some people who think that they have a few dreams come to pass, and next thing you know, they think they're a prophet, or they have some prophecies, and so it doesn't work that way. So, folks, that's really all that I have for today. I just wanted to share this information since the 22nd is coming around, and we need to be aware of these things. There's other people that are out there. I see other dates dealing with Shiba Inu out there for December and January and all this stuff, and more people are giving out time frames and stuff. And I just want people to be careful with this because as long as I've been doing this, it never works out when people give dates. So with that being said, I thank you guys for listening. God bless. TC out.